And we are officially back for episode 10 of the Backroad Banter podcast. Double digits. Double digits.
Yeah, dude, next week we're going to have more episodes than fingers.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
For most humans, we're setting a record right there. So that's
pretty yeah. That's true, man.
Well, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Well, we'll just get right into it, dude. How was your week? How's been the last 7 days, 6 days, however much it's been?
They've been, we've been pushing through. It's not been too bad, just a bunch of the same old shit.
Oh,
it's actually more of the same old shit. Life is back to boring, which is cool. I think a lot of people take boring for granted. I know I sure as hell did. And then when it gets the wrong kind of exciting, you really want it to be boring again.
Yeah.
So it's got back to boring. I don't want to say not really eventful, not storytelling eventful. I've been busy, but not, nothing fun.
Life
I ran a red light about an hour ago.
To get home?
Yeah, that's the truth. I didn't mean to. But, so there's this intersection on the way home. I got to turn left, and it's got one of those left turn lanes with the little green arrow thing that you can only turn left and the arrow's green. Well, I had a big-ass box truck in front of me, and, shame on me. I'm following him too close. I know better. But, I was following him a little bit too close, and I look up, and I know that this fucking guy ran that red light too, but I look up, and the light's red. I said, shit. I was, too far to stop at that point, you know what I mean? You don't, once you notice you're running a red light, you don't stop in the middle of the intersection, you run the fucking red light.
Yeah.
It's probably more dangerous to come to a complete stop.
Oh, so, yeah, for sure, especially behind you.
Yeah. So I ran a red light, very recently. It was on my way home today. So that was about an hour ago, maybe a little less. Didn't get pulled over, didn't get hit, so don't run red lights. Don't make it a point to, but yeah, if you do, at least it's one of those things that you have to either go 100% or don't fucking do it at all.
Yeah, you got to be willing to take that ticket, or well, actually, no, you should just be willing to take that ticket, because like you said, if you're at the point that you were at, you're more likely to cause an accident by trying to slam on your brakes and stop.
Yeah.
Or you're just awkwardly in the middle of, the lane, so people are going to have to swerve to go around you.
Yeah, I was like, man, do I get, maybe pulled over here in a second, or do I get everybody in this intersection coming out here and fucking cussing me out because I'm stopped in the middle of it? But,
I probably would have taken getting pulled over.
Yeah, exactly. Which, there weren't any cops around, thankfully, or I would have gotten pulled. I ran the red light for sure. But yeah, that wasn't me being impatient. That was me being negligent. So don't do what I do, kids. Pay attention. Don't ride the ass of box trucks at intersections because you can't see over top of them. If you're driving a Chevy Cruze, at least you can't see over top of them. I can vouch for that.
I don't know many cars that you can see. I don't know many vehicles you can see over a box truck.
No, not really. It depends on how big it is. If you get one of the little baby U-Hauls, you can manage that. But...
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, man? How was your last week rundown?
Well, work-wise, it was pretty average in terms of and it was cool because, as per usual, I had to attend some after-work events for the university, some of the marketing and PR coverage there. But last week was great. I was taking it to it was
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should specify the president of the college.
Yeah.
The president of the, yeah. I think we should. I knew what you were talking about, but I could definitely see if anybody just listened along with that. They're like, wait, what? Fuck is he doing
not,
there?
Trump is not my boss. He is not going to tell me what to do. Or he could tell me, but there's no guarantee I'd listen to that guy. I don't know. But that was cool. And then today, ironically, it was 30 minutes before the event, but I had to go over and take pictures at this SECA event, and it's this group. They are the people that run like Hospice West Virginia and stuff like that. And got to give they were giving an award to this employee that just goes above and beyond and has for her career. It ended up being my great aunt Roberta.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude, it was the best thing ever, seeing her like walk in and seeing her. It was so cool. So getting to cover that and then see a lot of my other family members. Very random, wasn't expected, but it was awesome. So that it just, I don't know, this past week of work just made me appreciate a little more of the not directly work-related tasks, but work-related tasks. You know, the opportunities that come from them. And then outside of that, I really didn't do much. We went there Saturday. Me and Faith went down to the Beckley Fayetteville Turkey Banquet and did some games for that event. Her family's really big into that and is high up in like that chapter and stuff, so they usually put it on. But it was really nice. It was really cool. We didn't win any guns, unfortunately, but Layla won a fishing pole. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, she wasn't even there.
Did she win it with her own money at least?
No, she wasn't there. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I think I should pawn it off because I don't know if it'd be right for her to take something that, you know, she didn't earn.
Well, it sounds like she cheated, which it's good to learn how to step on some toes to get ahead early. So you know what, I'll give that to her.
I'll tell you what, she's taken after me and beyond because she cheated in such a way that not even I know how she got her name put into that basket.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was cool. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Just relaxing, trying to prepare for this week, which we are now in, and thankfully one day through. So yeah. Eventful, but not eventful at the same time.
Yeah, man. Like you feel like you've done a billion things, but what nothing. Not a whole lot worth of story.
That's a big difference between like being 20 and being in college and being 28 and just being an adult. Is like, as an adult, you really are constantly busy, but it's with your normal day-to-day livelihood activities or just chores that you have to do. Whereas in college, it's annoying to have to go to 4 classes a day. It's really funny for me to see the dynamic because I don't know. After surveying, I feel like I have it easy.
Right. I mean, I do too. I feel like I have it easy too, fucking compared to my old job. And I do kind of the same thing. Like I'm in the same. I don't do the same thing, but I'm in the same.
Like industry.
The same type of job, sort of.
Yeah.
It's but it's funny because we talk about our jobs, like, the old one being hard and the newer one being not as hard. Some guy at my old job died today. He had a heart attack mid-shift.
Which old job? The tire?
Mm-hmm. The tire place, yeah.
No, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
He didn't I didn't know him, which I mean, it still sucks. Like I couldn't imagine like your last moments on Earth being working for that fucking place. I'm not gonna say the name of the place, but working for that place is bad. If I was like dying at that job, I would just tell somebody to put me out of my misery. I'd be like, dude, get me out of here. Like, get me to the gates of hell as soon as possible. Get me out of this building.
Yeah, you have to say that because remember last week I remember you saying you're going to reserve your spot in heaven. So.
That's right. I still need to call him.
Yeah, just put your name on the list, man. We still got time.
Yeah, still need to call
It's
him.
really crazy that all I'm thinking about is, like you're saying, get me out of here. But dude, with a heart attack, you don't know, are you responsive to it?
Yeah. And it's also like I didn't know this guy. I didn't know if it was because of the stress or if it was maybe he was just super unhealthy. Maybe he drank like a fish and was overweight or whatever. Like, who knows? But
And it really could have with the job that you had, it really could have been anything from just lifting something wrong to lifting a certain amount of weight to just moving wrong, and then obviously all the lifestyle choices like you mentioned.
yeah, and well, that type of job leads you to those lifestyle choices is the thing. Like, I know the only time I drink now is I'll have a couple beers when we're doing this.
Yep.
I think it's the way. It's not the only way that me and you communicate, but if we're gonna have a conversation worthy of a couple hours worth of video, there has to be at least like 2-3 beers involved. I think.
It just it helps with open discourse whenever
Yeah.
we're not trying to go, whenever we're trying to be relevant enough to maybe appeal to any viewers that we may have, but also stick to who we are and have the conversations that we would have.
But at that old place, like whenever I worked there, it's been 2+ years ago now, I believe. But when I worked there,
Dang.
I drank like regularly. Like I didn't just have a couple beers while filming a show. I had like a 8 to 12, like 5 out of the 7 nights of the week.
Oh wow.
Because it just sucked. Like because you would get out of there, and if it wasn't mentally stressful, it was physically stressful. A lot of the times it was both, and it was just everybody was pissed off. Nobody liked anything, and it was just a miserable ass place, and nobody wanted to go. You know what I mean? So like, you get off work, and then how you deal with it is you just drink alcohol, because then you wouldn't think about having to go back until you have to.
It's really ironic. You kind of just describing the outlook that you had on that job makes me reflect on surveying a lot, because it's the job that I complained the most about, and it wasn't because of the job itself, because I really enjoyed surveying. I loved the technicality of it. I loved being alone. I loved being with the crew that you had. But all of those things that you just said, they play into the surveyor lifestyle. If it wasn't for faith, and if it wasn't in large part, more part due to my family's historic addiction to alcohol, I definitely would have fallen in on that. During my 3 years there, just because that's what everybody did, and it had phased out. Luckily, I had joined, started doing the work there at a good point in time, because all I heard was stories about how, and not necessarily the company I worked for, but all these other companies that we would be subcontracted out for, or we would subcontract out, like the just drinking on the road, or like being so stressed out throughout, because we'd work 12 to 14 hour days, so it is long days. You're walking a lot, you're carrying a lot, so you're doing a lot of work. But hearing stories about people having to stop and get a 6 or 12 pack on the way back to the office, and then still stopping there after we'd clock out on their way home to get another 6 pack, and it's just, you really see the effects of it, and I think that maybe is another thing that kind of pushed me to not get to that point. You know what I mean? Like, not to rely on alcohol, but it's so easy too whenever you're just, when 8 to 10 hours of your day is just gloomy.
Hold on a second. I hate to put a pause in this, but this is gonna be real time. I'm gonna be a good son. My mom's calling me. Give me one second.
Yeah, take your time, Dan.
She's gonna make a guest appearance. Hey, what's up? Can I call you back in like an hour and a half in the middle of the song? Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye,
Michelle.
Love you too. See ya. Yeah, and that, ladies and gentlemen, if you have good parents, or at least one good parent, or however many good parents you have, if they ever call you, you answer the damn phone. That wasn't for anything in particular. It was just my mom calling, but I had to make sure I answered it. We don't even have to cut that. That's a life lesson. I want everybody to know that. If you got a good relationship with your parents, fucking don't treat them like a nuisance, because one day you're not gonna be around them every day, and you're gonna miss the shit out of them. And then one day you're gonna get really old, and they're not gonna be around at all. So answer the damn phone calls. Unless your parents fucking suck. I understand that there are some people that are in that boat, but if you got good parents and you got a good relationship with them, don't ignore the phone calls. Answer them, and then if just tell them you're gonna call them back later if you need to.
That is a great PSA right there. And the older you get, it doesn't matter what your relationship. It does matter what your relationship is, but if you have a good relationship with your parents, every teenager still like doesn't want to be annoyed by their parents. But as an adult, it's really funny because no matter how you look at it, for the most part, if you have a good relationship with your parents become one of your friends.
Oh, 100%.
Like
100%,
they're
yeah.
so it is. I like that. That was a good PSA, man. That was a good PSA.
Yeah. I had to take that opportunity. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think I've ever got a phone call in the middle of this. It took 10 weeks, but I got a phone call in the middle of this, and there it was.
Nobody calls me except for me. Sometimes your stepdad does, but just because I'm not responsible on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Before he even texts me back. So.
Yeah, that's why if I ever think of anything important, I'm always glad it's like ahead of time. Because if I needed you to respond immediately, the same with me too. If somebody needed me to respond immediately, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'll get to it when I can. Don't get me wrong. I'm not actively ignoring anybody. A lot of the times what happens most of the time is I'm in the middle of something, and I don't see it until like the middle of the damn night, and I'm like, I'm not gonna burden this person with this middle of the night message, especially if it's a weekend. If you send me something like Friday afternoon, I'll get to it like 2:30 a.m. Saturday, and at that point, I'm not answering you.
See, it's the opposite for me. Everybody should talk to, like, I'm more reachable after probably 8 p.m. Once we get Layla down, that's when I'm like, okay, the day's over. I can spend time because I'm on my phone a fair amount throughout the day. I think my screen time averaged 3 hours and 40 minutes. So I'm on it a lot throughout the day. But whenever you take out work and then you also take out that I'm a lot on YouTube and Spotify now, listen to podcasts or just like some financial people that I really like or support. I'm really into old. Man, if anybody ever likes gold and silver and you want to learn about stuff, you need to go to YouTube and you just look up the people that own coin stores and just put out, just like Wyatt did, a PSA about it because they are the best, they're the most helpful, and I've learned so much over the past couple of years from them.
There's a coin store probably 7-8 minutes from my house.
We need to schedule a weekend for me to come up and golf. We'll do golf and podcast. We will visit that coin store because I would love to.
That'd be awesome.
To add. Yeah, that's great.
I need to go scout it first because it's very small. I need to make sure it's. I mean, coins don't take up that much space, but it's very small. I need to go see what kind of. I feel like you would enjoy it either way, but I want to make sure it's something that's like worth coming up here. I mean, of course we go golfing and shit too, but
yeah. Well, that's the best thing about me. I'm like, silver and gold are where my passion is at, but they are so expensive that I've pretty much capped myself off unless they're specialty pieces. But coins, I'll go back. I have an 1191 AD Roman coin that has Julius Caesar on it. I have 1800, 1700 American coin. I have so much. Just I like anything and everything. Caleb Skinner gave me for Christmas, left me a little Chinese 5-cent coin. It's just got a lotus flower on it and stuff. But I've got that up there in that case. I collect anything. Anything that for some reason just attracts to me. It doesn't have to be valuable. Most of them are. So yeah, that'd be cool for us just to check out together too.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
I'd like to. I would definitely like to look at it. I just like looking at random shit.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it's not out of my way.
Yeah,
and it's right by the road.
I love teaching people, so I could even teach you a little bit about some of them probably. So and then they could really teach us. So that would be amazing.
I hate how many of my hobbies are straight digital because I don't have a lot of physical shit to like, which is good for me and bad because I don't have a lot of like. I got a wide open space in my apartment because it's not hogged up with stuff, but I also it's also cool to have like physical mementos of stuff.
Yeah.
I have like T-shirts, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I'd say the only physical collection things that I have, and I've only really started getting them in the past year, is just like I would get wrestling shirts
Yeah.
because I went to shows. I never like. I think, let's see, since August, been five. And I've gotten
5 shows?
because when I went to Cleveland, we did 2. We did back-to-back nights. We did the TV show and then the pay-per-view. I went to the AEW 5th anniversary show here, like October or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that was I went there with one of our old friends.
Oh, okay.
And then
I remember that one.
yeah, and yeah, it was supposed to be a trip. It was supposed to be a trip for my birthday, and then he got drunk, and then I couldn't drink because I had to drive us home. So it tells you how
I remember
that
that
went.
specifically. 'Cause, you came in and we golfed directly after that, and we had some conversations about
Yeah, I was
the
pissed
difference
because
between being out as an adult and being out as a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Act
I
your
was
age.
eating. And then I went to Indianapolis last month, or the end of January, beginning of February, and I did another back-to-back, the TV show. So I went to 5, and I get a shirt from each one. I have to. I don't really get much else. I just get a shirt. I feel like I have to get a fucking shirt, especially while the people that I know aren't like retired. So.
If it's what you like, yeah, dude. That's
I just hate
okay.
that they're expensive. They're like $40 at the shows. They're expensive not at the shows because I looked online too. But
it's
I have
worth
to.
it
I
whenever you
I
wear
can't
it,
go
though.
to something and not bring something home with me. And that's the same for like sporting events and shit too. Like even if it's a Pirates game, even like I live down the road from the Pirates. They have 81 home games a year, so going to one's not special anymore. But I'm at least leaving with a souvenir cup.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not going to anything without leaving with something.
I love the cups are easy to get, and those are always a go-to. My, in terms of sports rituals that I get, because I'm also with you, you gotta have something to remember.
Yeah.
I always go and I find some Steelers fan shop somewhere, and I buy like metal pin, a push pin. So I have collectible push pins from all Steelers events that I've been to, and then Pirates ones I buy a new hat every time. And I wear that hat until I go to a new Pirates game, and then I retire that hat and switch it over. So it's cool to hear because I don't really think rituals.
Yeah, that's a must for me. If I go to any sort of event, show, anything, I've never been to a concert. When I go, I'm leaving with something. I don't care how legally I acquire it or what it is.
Me and Faith we went to a really awesome concert. And I forget who exactly it was. Because everybody knows them because they're a country band. But it was freaking amazing, man. And they had one of their openers wasn't country. It was a girl that was like a punk rock, and her on the guitar freaking I flash back to it and it upsets me. Me and Faith never got anything there, and it was because it was like $50, $55 for a T-shirt. And
That's bananas, dude.
yeah,
How the hell does concerts have higher prices than Major League Baseball and
I'm putting this one to the tour. It was a band it was like a duo, 2 men, from the 90s. I don't know why I'm blanking on it now, but it was like a reunion tour. Also, they're super super old.
yeah.
So I hate that I can't remember it. Nope. Oh well. Yep, I'm moving on. Music's not my thing, but I love events. So
Yeah. You've never been much of a music guy. It's funny because I'm a big. I don't want to say big, but I'm a pretty decent music guy. I've never been to a concert. You're not a music guy at all, and you have been.
yeah. I just love live events, man. Comedy shows are the same thing. I've been to a few comedy shows, and Doesn't matter what scale they're at. Like I've seen people that have been on TV. I've seen people with TV shows, and they're all freaking great. I actually like
Yeah.
the ones that are like up and comers more because they're just like more eager to be on stage. So they slam it with hard jokes because they need that paycheck.
Yeah, dude, you need to whenever if you ever make a trip up here to go see the coin store and the golfing and stuff, you need to fucking hang out for the night. And we'll go down to the Improv too.
Oh yeah,
See
that would be
whatever's
great.
going on there. That'd be
Yeah, I haven't been to a comedy show in Pittsburgh.
I haven't either.
That's-
I live
Yeah, and you've been living there. Yeah.
That's crazy. All the stuff that I like this past year have gone to do. There's such a small amount of it that was here.
Yeah.
Like, I should.
That just shows that it doesn't really matter where you're living or the size of the city that you're in. It's you want to get out of your home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you want to break the familiarity every once in a while.
Yeah.
You see too much of the same shit every day. You just don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm still at the point now where, like, I don't have the best apartment, but having my own place again for the first time in a year, and especially after the fucking year I've had, yeah, having my own place again is, it's like a breath of fresh air. So right now I'm still at the point where, like, I don't want to leave home, but I know it's close. I know I'm like a week or two, maybe 3 away before I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. But as of right now, man, like it's still new to me, and compared to what I was dealing with, it's a big breath of fresh air. So I'm still stuck in the getting out part now. And part of it is too, I spent so much goddamn money to move in here that I just kind of want to build myself back up a little bit before I do anything. But yeah, it's I agree with you. After so long, you gotta get the hell out of home.
Yeah. It's just small breaks doesn't have to be very often. Just
when you
3
can.
times a year if possible. And if you really look at it, the average American takes 1 vacation a year. So if you can even just get out once a year, make it awesome, make it memorable, and make it worth looking forward to next year. Because that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm really appreciating the time that I get off with this job. Because I'll never have a job this cushy again in terms of earned time off. And I haven't taken any days off aside from for like Layla since starting. But I know this summer I'm going to be, or this spring too summer. This spring it's going to be about golfing. I'm going to take off Fridays. I'm going to be golfing with Kevin. I'm golfing with Seth, Kayla. I'm going to golf with everybody that I can. But the summer it'll all just be about family. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the little getaways.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm excited to come back home. I haven't been back home in a while.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you should. I just was out 2 days ago. I walked the golf course. No, Friday. I got off early. And went out to the golf course and walked it with my cart. And, dude, it took me like an hour and a half to play 9, or, well, 8.5. I was on 9, and I hit it really far left. And then I go down over the bank to hit my shot again. And there's a bunch of college girls teeing off on the college tees, and I am not close to good enough to judge my power distance.
Yeah,
that short with how close they are to the green. So I walked over my ball onto the hard top, past the girls, into my car.
That's funny because that hits you from all angles. It's like, one, you don't want to look like a complete fucking idiot. And you also don't want to kill anybody with a golf ball.
Yep. For me, that ball didn't deserve to be picked up and played by me. And they know that it was me because I know they probably watched that ball land where it landed at.
Yeah.
And then, a minute later they see me with my push cart strolling down the hill. So I was just full embarrassment.
Man, it's really funny, too, the amount of faith that, like, good golfers put in everybody else. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but you just be out on a golf course, and, like, in that instance, when you just, you got a short little... Say you're on 9, back in town, and you're right on the other side of the creek, but you're over to the left, like close to the road. I know if I'm up on one about to tee off and I see somebody over there trying to hit that shot, I'm getting the fuck out of the way. But a good golfer just expects everybody, they'll look around, they'll be like, there's no fucking way he's going to hit me. If he hits me, he sucks. He's really bad. And I don't think they understand that a lot of people out there suck.
We suck, and we are really bad, and we will hit you.
Do not put that kind of faith in me. Don't do it.
No.
Keep your head on a swivel.
I had to save what dignity I had, and I should have just left my car and walked home. but I put everything up and I left. But it was so fun. I was 6 over 3 8 though, and to be, I think I was 15 or 16 over. I played the first time this year.
Yeah.
I improved by 10 strokes, and I haven't done anything different. So
Oh, yeah.
to get out and play. Yeah, that has me excited. So the next time you're down here, I'll play. But I've also looked at courses up near you. Looked at the first and last places and a couple things up near you, and it's the exact same price as it is to play here.
That's good. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get out there some this year. My first round's probably gonna have to be in town because that's where my golf clubs are.
Yeah. Should be anyways. Get warmed up out here. Small course.
Yeah.
And you know it, so it'll...
It's good to get warmed up where familiar, yeah.
Yeah. We'll actually take some putting practice. Dude, this goes back to the conversation that we started, that kind of started with, where we were just talking about the jobs that we were at now, and different aspects of them, and not just the jobs we're at now, but I guess more what I'm talking about would be the career and industries that we see ourselves being in.
Yeah.
Marketing and management area for me, the tech software coding area for you. This is something that's gonna affect everybody that isn't, technical skill set, meaning, more hands-on technical skill set related to. It'll impact us first, and it kind of already has. I wanted to get your opinion on AI, and more specifically, what your opinion is on AI right now, and how you think it's going to affect your job or your or the industry that you're going to be working in.
That's a fucking good question. Because if you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have said I'm not worried about it. If you were to ask me right now, I don't want to say I'm worried about it. Unless it gets real advanced real quick, but you know how technology goes. It can. So I realistically don't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about. But I know, and I'm not the only one, and it's not just for software development. It's a good tool. AI can be a good tool if you use it right. If you, if you're a chat GPT person, if you know how to ask it questions without just making it do shit for you, it's useful. It's very useful. I used it a lot through school, not original school. When I went back to school for software, I used it a lot. And I didn't use it in a sense of like, hey, make this for me. Because to be honest with you, if you tell it that, it's not going to work. It's not going to... there's so many moving pieces going on that it's not going to know how to code you a specific app that you're trying to make.
It requires very, very specific parameters if you're wanting something as delicate or as specific as what a human would produce.
Yeah, but what you can really do, and what I liked doing, and I didn't do this in a do this for me type of way, I did it in a teach me type of way. So it was, I would do whatever I could with my own knowledge and what I could find looking up my own stuff on the internet. I'd go to run my stuff. If it didn't work, if I caught some kind of error, if I had something, I'd look at the error message. I would copy and paste it in. I'd copy and paste whatever little block of code in. And then I'd be like, hey, I wouldn't talk to it like a person, but I wouldn't say hey, but I would be like, I'm getting, I'm getting this error here on this block. Like, can you point me in the direction of like what I need to do to fix this? And it will fix it, and it will explain to you why it did what it did. It's not always right. Sometimes you got to poke and prod around with it and ask in a specific way. It's a good, useful tool if you don't lean on it too much. Like, that's, I think a lot of people, and it's funny, I wanted to talk about this a couple of weeks ago just because it's something I saw on Twitter. A few things I saw on Twitter. I saw some lady talking about how she asked ChatGPT for advice. She was like, man, ChatGPT's got all the right answers. Who the fuck even needs to talk to their friends? Don't do that. Do not use it for that. That's fucking stupid. It's a machine. No offense to the machines. I love them. I use a lot of them. It's not gonna work. If you need advice that bad and you don't have a friend, get a therapist. Don't ask it for life advice. If you got something you're doing, you can ask it questions. It will help you. But what I don't like is how much I see it fucking everywhere. I see it. It's all over Twitter now. If every tweet, or not every tweet, there's a lot of tweets, and it'll have a little. I think Facebook has them too with the Meta AI, and it'll have a post, and then underneath of that post, there's a bunch of AI generated questions that you can click on, and it will answer. It'll be like, so say, I'll drop one of the sports news in. I'm sure this will be outdated, or it will be outdated by the time this comes out. But as of today, Monday, March 3rd, LeBron James points totals for regular season and postseason combined is 1 point shy of 50,000. So if you were to see a post about that, as an example, there would be a whole lot of suggestions under that post. It'd be like, tell me more about LeBron James, show me NBA's all-time scoring leaders, yada, 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 just a whole bunch of like random suggestions popping up at the bottom. I don't like that. I don't want to say it's harmful, but goddamn is it lazy. Like, if you want to figure it out, figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can use ChatGPT for a project, for a work. I think if you're now I'm no expert developer. I don't even have a job in the field. I'm learning. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the process of figuring it out. But I like use it for that. If you're a writer or something, and maybe you like, I don't know much about writing, but I'm not telling it to write shit for you. But if you get stuck on something and you have like a question with your wording or with something that you could do differently, I feel like I'm just throwing a broad net out there. But use it to help you, but don't use it as your butler. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to work. You're just going to be an idiot, and your work's going to be shitty. And
Yeah.
and that's really all there is to it. It's a tool.
You're basically saying it's a tool. Use it to its advantage and your advantage. I look at it just from, I'll give my point from a marketing perspective, but with what you're saying, I look at it a lot as like a calculator. It can do the work for you, but you're not going to understand how it did it. And
you need to figure out the how and why.
Yeah, if it's something that requires that, and if not, then you're using it properly, because it can be used for mindless things or tasks that shouldn't require a lot of time, but for some reason may. For me, as a marketing perspective, I used to have a very negative or negatively optimistic outlook for AI, because I just see within robotics, I look at a lot of manufacturing industries, and you just look at the amount of jobs that are out, and that will be put out, and then that adds into just the upgrades and improvements in technology in general. There are plenty of things that I worry about, and primarily it's what jobs are going to be taken away, and in a lot of aspects, there was a very good example of it with the writer's strike that happened last year.
Yeah.
Creative design will be gone.
Yeah, I do want to say something about that. Now, if we're talking about that aspect of it, the using AI, like AI art fucking sucks. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'll let you continue your thought. But like that end of it, AI art is bullshit. It sucks. It's lazy. It's dumb. And it is eventually going to take jobs from people. And it's just going to give you this lifeless nonsense that nobody cares about. Not something somebody made. But yeah, go on. Sorry, I had to interject there. But
No, no, bro. Say your thoughts every time because it'll just help kind of push the podcast along. But it's exactly that. As somebody that is a marketing and designer and graphic designer, and I do all these various things, and I'm learning all these new softwares and techniques, and like I went to school for 4 years to learn what appeals to you and what phrases appeal to a specific genre of people, and for all of it to be basically outsourced to a robot, it's exactly what I said. It's lazy. And even if you get, let's say you're not using ChatGPT, but you're using an AI software that produces very good images, like stuff that isn't like you can't see the flaws in, I guess is more what I'm saying. Then you get back to exactly what you said. Everybody that does any sort of designing on any front, they have their own style. Like I never thought of myself as an artist before, but I definitely am an artist, and it's through my photos, and it's through these designs, and it's through these pamphlets and these posters and all these various forms that I'm getting to do. And over the last 4 years, I've come to learn my style and like the way that my mind operates. I'm very corporate. I'm in the box. I'm structured. I like angles. I want things to be accurate. I want things to be measurable. I want complementing colors. I don't like. In comparing to my coworker, I see the complete opposite, and I see his creative freedom, and I see his cartoon expressions, and it's a lot more fun. And it just goes back to anything done with AI. There's no personable touch. You don't understand. You can't tell anything about anything because all you did was type in a prompt and it was generated. And whether anybody believes it or not, like there's a large part of psychology that goes into marketing, and there's a lot
100%.
of money and research that goes into our target demographics and understanding who and why we're targeting them. The language that we're going to use that is going to, just while you're listening or scrolling, that's going to get stuck in your head. There's all these things that go into it, and AI just take it away whenever it's used not as a tool but as a just as your workhorse.
I don't think it should be used for like visual art ever. No matter how much it advances, because like I said, it's lifeless. It's like you can look at an AI art piece and it doesn't have the same feel. No matter how accurate it is, there's something about it that's like, nobody did that.
Nobody did that. I mean? It's not appealing. It doesn't matter how good it looks. It's not appealing, and there is a difference in that. Like, I could give examples, but it just goes into whenever it's used too much, and whenever it's used for that specific purpose. For a marketing and a design perspective, it goes back to the word that you originally used. It's lazy, and it's just a no, for the simple fact of it's an easy way out. And again, you didn't like, as a designer, like my portfolio is everything that I have done, and I can't add something if it was generated automatically from a computer or from a website. And I don't know. It's very frustrating to me because I don't see it being used as a tool for my industry. I feel it will just take jobs to a certain point until people realize, oh wow, this is not beneficial for our company,
Yeah.
and then it'll turn back.
I want to know, like, how much is that gonna fuck with, not the immediate future, but you think like, 20, 30, 40 years down the line, whenever people grew up on the shit. Like, we didn't grow up on the shit. We grew up on looking at every, like, other people's individual art styles. What are we gonna get when the people that grew up on the shit are adults, and then they get into these jobs and they're like, no, that looks good. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
that kind
where
of fucking scares me.
it should. But the reason why that doesn't scare me is because that's not what's going to happen. Is unfortunately here in about 15 years' time, uh, it's one of the reasons why I was originally always scared or always worried about AI. As being somebody that's worried about economics, or at least interested to a very small extent in economics and the way that our country is ran, and the way that us as individuals make our money and the options that we have, it's going to be pushed to where there will be a universal basic income for a large portion of people, and it'll be because their jobs, your jobs are just you. There's not enough jobs that we can supply you, so we're gonna give you a base pay. That's my fear of what will happen.
Yeah.
And that's a prediction, and it's a way out prediction, but it's also based on a small bit of like merit in conspiracy theory.
It's not
So,
crazy. It's definitely not a crazy, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'll say that. It's I had a thought, but I lost it. But I 100% agree with you. It's like, it's a good possibility. I don't think it's outlandish at all. It's
our
fucking-
generation was pushed too hard to go to college, but they didn't really prepare us as to why we were going to college. They just said college is how you get jobs. Well, if college is how you get jobs, why is it that 60% of the population isn't secondarily educated?
yeah.
And they're the freaking workhorse of our country's economy and every state. And those people have the highest percentage of jobs that will not be taken through automation. You anything from an auto mechanic to somebody that is actually in a factory dealing with cars. You can go to plumber, you can go to electrician, HVAC, welder, whatever the equipment operators. Unfortunately, sorry guys, you are somebody that's job is being taken because it's already being taken.
Yeah.
I've been on all those job sites. I've been on multiple construction and well pad sites. Their job's way easier than what my dad used to have it, and and that was only 15 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, it'll all be ran now. Like, I would set up the GPS systems, and then the dozers would just grade automatically to a certain level based on what height that I would shoot in with the RTK. So you just need a guy in there to make sure that nothing messes up, but he doesn't really do much except back up and go forward.
Oh, but my thought came back to me though. I did remember. So I definitely could see what you're saying happening. A lot of people's jobs are going to get, they're going to be obsolete because they're going to get replaced by machines. Which it won't be, but it could be a good thing if people fucking used it right. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know how fucking sick everything could be if just machines did the work for? But everybody would get so damn lazy.
Well, that's
nothing
the point.
Nothing productive would get done anywhere ever.
That COVID was the prime example of what would happen. The government gives everybody money, and instead of doing something responsible, they all blow it on
TVs.
TVs.
Because I worked at the
toys
goddamn
and brand
TV
new
store when
cars.
this happened.
And so there haven't been enough examples given to me for me to have positive faith if that outcome comes true. But the little bit of part of me that does, that the reason why it could work and the reason why it would work is exactly what this podcast is and what we constantly talk about. It's finding things outside of what we're forced to do to live, to enjoy the life that we have, and it would increase people's time and hopefully make people more artistic. We would,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is
you
that
would
like
find we'd have more creative freedoms on all fronts to whether it be something it's a solo activity, it's in the house, or it's something you're going out and it could open up the possibilities of just honestly communication and friendship between people, which I think would be I
would
constantly
give everybody such a huge opportunity and so much more time to live, but they won't do it.
yeah.
Like the very vast majority of people, I guarantee you won't do it. You know what I mean? Like they won't find extra shit to do with their time. Do you know if we didn't have to go to work, how fucking good this show might be?
I know one day we'll do a podcast and we'll just do a breakdown. It's one of the questions that I actually had written out was, do you think people will understand how much time outside of the podcast is put into it? And I know for me personally, I put in at least 3 to 4 times the amount of, like, I watch this thing 4 times through while editing it, and then I go back through and put everything, like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's just, if I didn't have to work, it would be even more, and the commercials would be even funnier or better.
Yeah.
Or,
If we didn't have to work, I think we would do a lot more than this show. Like, I mean, like, there's a lot of work that goes into this thing. I'm not gonna lie. Like you said, like you asked if I think people would believe. I don't think people would believe it.
No, because it's a crappy show.
No, yeah, because I mean, we're just figuring it out. You know, we've never done an anything show ever before. It's not like we grew up YouTubers. You know what I mean? We don't know shit about shit. We're just in here talking. Hope and more things click as time goes. But that's the cool thing about this. We can't get fired from this. I guess we could get. I guess we could get real life fired, but we don't say anything too crazy. So, yeah, it's not like we can get fired from this. You know what I mean? There's nobody stopping us. We just do it. Unless YouTube shuts down, then you just find something else.
Yeah, what's cool is we can upload to Spotify, but hopefully our option that is in the works, when that's up, we won't have to worry about anything. So
yeah, that
that'll
is
be
true.
Cool.
But yeah, it'd give a lot of people more time to just fucking create. You know what I mean? And I don't mean like online creations. I just mean all kinds of creations. Because a lot of people, especially nowadays, that's another bad thing. Is that whenever a lot of people hear the word, creating or just things like that, a lot of people think it's just like online. They think content creating, like online content creating. That's not. You can do other shit too, but unfortunately, people won't use it for that. The good vast majority of people would just sit on their ass at home and watch TV.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. But that's the best case scenario. But that's all. I just wanted
to. Yeah, for sure.
It'll be cool to just kind of track it throughout and see how things change,
Yeah. It definitely would. The good thing about mine is that at least somebody has to program them. So
yeah, you could just
but you have to be real good. You have to be real smart. You have to really know what you're doing.
You just have to come back. You just need to come back to Glenville, buddy. We started next in the fall. We start our first semester of our graduate AI program.
That's pretty cool.
Masters in AI. Yeah, we got really Masters in AI, Masters in Cybersecurity, Health Administration, and then 2 more we added on Finance and Business. Oh, we added on more for it's cool. And we got Psychology coming in maybe a year or so. It's
awesome.
Yeah, they're growing. So, I'm just going to go down and we'll get to the dumb stuff. I'll just talk about my dumb stuff there later. We'll just go through the real conversations. Have you, because you're a computer guy, I didn't know if you have you seen anything about Microsoft's quantum computing chip?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so last week, and everybody should pay attention to this, and there's one reason why, because I did not understand most of what I read, and I read it 3 times. I typed up, copied, and pasted notes. This is all just about their quantum computing chip. Um, but so they developed theirs, and Google developed theirs in like 2019. But apparently, what they tested it against and their power, it was like not a fair test, so nobody gives them credit. But Microsoft developed their quantum computing breakthrough or whatever, and there's a specific name for this chip, and the Majorna 1 or something like that, maybe Majorna 1. But it leverages what the company calls a breakthrough material that can observe and control particles, the Majorna particles, to produce more reliable and scalable qubits. And qubits are building blocks for quantum computing. Okay. Well, the reason why I'm talking about this, though I don't understand it, is because in the process of doing this, they developed a new state of matter. And for everybody that's just listening, what's our states of matter? Solid, liquid, gas. So, they developed a new state of matter. That is absolutely incredible, and I have more that we can go into it. So it's called it's called the topological state of matter, and there are a couple people that have already put out videos explaining it. I feel like the best way is to just go straight to, really educated sites. That's where I got my sources, and they at least had enough syllables in the words and made sense to a small extent to where I believed them. But basically, this state of matter can be in all forms and no form at the same time, and the only way to break this state of matter, and it's in multiple, it's solid in one position, but while it's solid in one state, it's also vibrating, and it's in a second state. Okay, so it's in two states. So the way that, I forget who it was, I think it was one of the videos ended up being like Glenn Beck, who's a radio guy, but he explained it, and he gave a good example. He said it's like you have a donut that can transform into a can, like a soda can, and it's because the shapes and the shapes stay whole, and as long as the outside lines of this state of matter don't cross, it won't collapse. It's still it is solid. And I was talking to Faith about this, and I know she wasn't that interested, but I think she was a little bit. But the reason why this could be important, and this is coming from a very dumb redneck Gilmer County's opinion and mindset, but based off of everything I've read and my understanding of what was said and kind of doing some little doodles, the theory of the multiverse, or the multiverse theory, then could be played into this state of matter for the simple fact of every universe in the multiverse is its own thing and are very close together. But don't break up and aren't destroyed until they are crossed or until the original line is broken. And so therefore, that's just kind of, I don't know. That's just where I guess I could ramble on, but it's going to continue to not make sense probably. It's just, but everybody look that up, because the topological state of matter is a new state of matter, and that's incredible.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't hear anything about this. I looked it up as you were talking about it, so yeah, it's very new. I think the first article about it was from February 19th or something like that. So yeah, it's or at least first article I found was from then. So yeah, it was it's definitely very new. It's interesting as shit. I'm probably going to read a little more into it later.
Yeah, look up the term topoconductor, a topological superconductor. That's what it is. It's a topoconductor. The reason why another reason I looked into is because everybody should understand what quantum computing is, because whenever quantum computers actually come out and are, used somewhat publicly, it's gonna again change life as we know it.
Oh yeah,
They have the computing power of every computer on our Earth,
that's
on Earth
nuts.
in one.
Fucking insane. I don't even know how people make shit like that. Yeah, dude, it's awesome.
Sorry, I know that was random. It's just it was. It's also something that's been on my mind, and I wanted to talk about. I want
No,
people
that's
to
interesting
think
as
about.
hell. I would like to know more about that. I want to know what it can do. That because it's crazy because it's all life has been a lot of people. It's like, man, I don't know. Technology gets much better than this, and then it does. It gets a lot better than this, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
And then we're definitely at the point now where you're like, all right, well, what more do you do? And then they still do more. Like,
They're
they'll figure it
figuring
out. Yeah, they'll figure it out. It's nuts.
That's what's funny is they're thinking of questions that none of us knew were even a possible
Yeah,
thing to conceive.
these are
Like,
very smart cats, dude.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
And but I also
Probably never
like
been
them
to the store a
because
day in their lives.
they kind of shit on Google at the same time because they shouted Google out and they're like, Google lied in 2019. And now, an informative video for all you oyster shucking lovers out there.
Dude,
Yeah.
I hope I'm not rushing anything. I hope I'm not getting ahead of you here, but I was excited for this when you sent me this the other day. I'd like to get into this list of questions that you sent me.
Oh, yeah, sure. bud.
Yeah, I definitely think I'll start at one. Sorry, I have a visitor I had to wave at. So number one, Justin's also waving. Yeah, I got things going crazy. I got my mom calling, got my girlfriend walking through the door. Fucking, never know what's
Walk out
going
this door
on.
and right through your door.
Yeah, Justin's gonna show up here. The painting's gonna come alive. All right, so number one, I'm probably just gonna start and go down the list. I like all these. Yeah, well, we'll go with number one. I don't know if I got it all the way spit out before I asked that other question. What's the best decision that you think, best decision that you've ever made that you think shaped your life?
For context, I did make this one. And so the reason why I thought about this one is because there's multiple areas where I could really address and
Yeah, that's
guess-
when I read this question, I was like, I could have like 8 different answers for this one.
Yeah.
I don't think I know my one yet.
but I was able to trace it back, and I'm willing to say it because it's my entire life. 1 month before graduating high school, I changed my mind and decided to go to Glenville instead of Fairmont. Going to Glenville State College, through everything that I may have said, while in school there, it is by far the best decision that I've ever made. From continuing to, from getting to live with you and your mom and continue that and build those relationships, to meeting Candace and Joey and spending time with Colby, and then obviously meeting Faith and having now the rest of my life. And
I thought you were going to leave that out. I was not
no.
say anything.
I was building up because that's the most important thing.
Okay,
is, like,
I respect that. There you go.
and that came at a very low. That came at one of the lowest points. So it was just that Glenville State College, and it's why I won't talk bad about Glenville anymore, because I'm almost 28 years old and my entire life is in Gilmer County. It has been based in Gilmer County, and I've lived a pretty awesome life. So
Yeah.
So deciding to go to Glenville.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is yours?
So my answer to that question is actually the exact opposite of that, sort of. I am, for context, anybody that wants to know, I for different reasons, I am also glad that I stayed there because I had fun and I got in not nearly as much debt. But my answer was leaving. My answer was leaving Glenville when I did. Now, it wasn't good immediately. To be honest with you, a lot of it wasn't good. Not to say that it was bad, but a lot of it was less than ideal. It wasn't what I thought it would be. Still, sometimes it's not. Which what I thought it would be and what I think it's going to be now are two different things. But I still get thrown curveballs. But I've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot just how to deal with people, what kind of people to have around, what people are good people, what people are bad people, and I don't mean that I learned how to figure that out immediately, but I just learned a lot of life lessons that some of them I would have still learned in Glenville, but I think some of them I might not have, or at least might or wouldn't have as early as I did. But yeah, there's something about life, especially when it gets shitty, when you don't really have somewhere to like run away to. You know what I mean? Like I don't have like it's not as easy for me to go home and find like go be around my comfort people. Like it's important to get out of your comfort zone a lot, I think, and that was the very first time that I really did was whenever I moved here, and it just taught me a lot about the main lesson. I don't want it to sound shitty, but the main lesson it taught me is that dude, life is not going to be what you think it is, and that's not necessarily bad. Like it's just not always going to be good. You can't let it kick your ass. You just got to learn from it, keep going, you figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I have it all figured out, but I have it more figured out than I did at 22 whenever I left town. So I'm glad that I left because I think it brought me a lot of the growth that I think I needed to have. So
yeah, that's I think you're absolutely right. No matter where you're at, life is not what you think it will be. It will kick your butt. But the biggest thing to take away is that it is a lesson and you can learn from it. There is always something to be learned. And it sounds like I'm some crappy freaking 1.5-legged freaking high school basketball, coach who's trying to cheer up their team. But every situation you can turn around. You can't turn around every situation, but you can find a positive or at least be like, you know what? If it's a super negative situation, I can find 3 things that I'm going to strive not to be like, not to do, not to have other people see or think of me in this way. So that's something that I'm really grateful for over the past probably 6 months is I've stopped. I never played the victim card, but I always looked at myself, like I always looked at the disadvantages or at the negativities rather than just trying to freaking be positive. Like just trying to be positive does so much more. Or like, and ask my wife, I'm somebody that is constantly stressed and putting stress on myself, and I'm frustrated. But like at the same time, I'm constantly happy because I'm looking for the best. Like my life isn't ever. I could complain about my life, and it would have no merit because my life is awesome.
The good thing about our lives too, that I think I can speak for both of us. Of course, they're in different ways. You have a child. I don't have a child, but still, our lives, the past few years, the problems that we have are, I don't want to say good problems to have because there's not necessarily always a good problem to have. But I think that we are good in a lot of the places that it's hard to get good if you're not there. If that makes any sense. Like we got good friends. You know what I mean? Like we got good friends, we got good families, you got a good family both ways. Like you got your older folks, and then you've got your wife and your daughter, and like we have a lot of good people around us. And if that's something that at this age you don't have, it's kind of hard to turn that around. It really is, because if you have a bunch of shitty people around you and you do decide that you don't want them around you, then you just you cut those people off, sure, but then then you're resetting. You know what I mean? Like we got very fortunate that we have a whole bunch of really good friends, and no matter where they are, God, they're spaced out everywhere, but we could get a hold of any one of those guys at any time. You know what I mean? Like so the problems, I guess, now are just like regular life stress. You know what I mean? Professionally, financially, yada, yada, yada. All things that are much more easily solvable than having the right crew around you. Like
Yeah.
we each got good fucking crews around us, and I think that's something that a lot of people I think take for granted.
Yeah, yeah, I fully agree with you. We are very lucky. I attribute it to, and I always heard you don't have. It's hard to keep your friends from high school, or you'll have your friends from college and stuff. I have a couple friends from college that I still keep in touch with on a very regular basis, but it's nothing like the crew from high school. It's nothing
Yeah.
like the guys from high school, and for all of us to be in literally in so I mean everybody that I can think of that I have around me, we're all in such different positions, different points in our lives, different careers, different mindsets, and it goes back to where I'm just positive about it. I'm like, man, I could be awfully negative about a lot of things about where I'm currently at, but then no, just like you said, got a great family around me. I'm very well taken care of. I'm living comfortably. I'm providing well for my family. I'm being provided for. I'm being loved for. Uh, it's and so I'm just appreciative, and I look like, oh, okay, well, what can I take from each of my friends? Like, what can I learn from each of my friends?
Yeah.
And as being adults, that's what it's all about. Because, like you said, we're so spread out. You don't really get the guy time, the friend time that you do whenever it's an occasion like a wedding or something now. So the fact that we're able to still keep in touch and make it a point to, and it just adds to how unique our situation is, I think. And I know a lot of people are like this, but I personally don't know anybody that's like us that has as large of a friend group. But I'll just say our core five: me, you, Ty, Kevin, and Nathan. Ty moved away in October of sophomore year of high
Over
school.
a decade ago.
And we've been out of school for going on a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
So to still be in touch and to still have that tight knit friend group, it definitely makes it easier to like you said, go at the everyday life struggles that kind of kick you in the butt.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Kind of add those stresses.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think another thing is to find to have a good dynamic like that. You have to, we're all kind of different. Like I don't mean different. I don't mean different as in we're all not normal, but we're not the same person. You see a lot of friend groups nowadays, man, that are just goddamn chameleons. They get around each other, and they're all just like different looking versions of the same cat. And
yeah, it seems like it's a Hollywood gym.
Yeah, it's just so goddamn annoying. Like, I like that we can all be as different as we are and still get along as well as we do, because I think that's a big part of having a solid friend group too. That's how you know when those guys are genuine. That's how you know when your friend group is very real, because no matter how different you are, they're still your boys. You don't have to be exactly like each other to hang out. And
No.
honestly, when I see people that hang out and they all act the same, I'm like, man. I'm
It
sure
creates
there's gonna if there's anybody that's hung around us that watches this, they're gonna hear that sentence and they're gonna be like, yeah, okay, fuck, like you guys don't act the same. But we do when we're like around each other, we act a little bit the same. But like in regular day-to-day life, we're not. We're not at all.
You just have to. Well, I'll go back to in terms of what it brings to a friend group, or it brings a great dynamic because you have a mixture of personalities, and then. Just as everybody can see on this podcast if they've watched it all, which as we go on, they'll get cleaner, straight, like we'll get more professional within them because we'll have more practice at it. So it'll seem less like a sideshow. But just doing this podcast and then just being with our friend, like, oh, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Oh, dude, you're all good. But no,
what were you talking about? I'll cut it out. I'll cut this out. What were you talking about?
I kind of lost my train of thought too, man. We were going
right
on a. Yeah,
I think right into my light, and I lost it.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's fine anyway. I think we can go ahead and move on to question 2. I think that was our sign to move on to the next one. What's one thing you've had to unlearn? I really liked this question, by the way. What's one thing you've had to unlearn in the past few years? That was a good one.
Okay, I'm not going to cut it out because I just remembered. Oh, yeah. As for this podcast, I think everybody could see from the topics that we bring in, we're not the same person. We don't have the
fuck
same
no.
mindsets.
No, not at all.
On to your second question. On to question number 2. Well, can you read that off again? I'm sorry. I apologize.
What's one thing about yourself that you've had to unlearn in the past few years?
It's something that I'm still learning. Goals are a lot more achievable, and life is a lot less complicated when you're happy.
Yeah, for sure. Everything doesn't seem like a chore, I guess. Yeah.
It's and so I can elaborate on that so that people just don't think it's some dumb phrased question. So in terms of your goals and just going back to everything in general, whenever you are happy personally, it's easier to devote time. It's easier to devote your mindset to outlining what it may take to achieve whatever goals you want or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. I'm somebody that's very structured. From my daily schedules to just how I outline everything that I do, and it's just I'm able to do that because I'm not constantly thinking or stressed about any personal issues. I know that for the most part, personally, I've got it better than most people. So it gives me the time and the ability to be like, okay, well, let me actually sit down and think about this issue or devote time to this problem, whether it be work related or it is a personal problem. It's easier to get over things and to accomplish things when you're happy. And what I'm still learning, I'm still learning what makes me happy, and I'm finding that it takes less to make me happy than what I thought it.
Right.
It just goes back to life is a lot less complicated than what I used to think it was.
Yeah. That was a good answer. Mine's kind of similar along those lines. I guess I'm going to answer. I'm answering with 2 short phrases, and I'll elaborate on them. So I guess it's not one thing I've had to unlearn. It's past few years. It's 2 things I've unlearned past few years. I don't even know if it's unlearn them or learn them, but the first one is don't panic. And the second one, one thing I had to beat in my own head is that, you got this. And both of those things seem like really fucking generic. And I guess the one thing that I need to unlearn, or that I've been unlearning in the process of it too, is the don't panic part. It used to be so easy at any minor inconvenience to think that the world is ending. It's not. No matter how fucking bad it is, there's tomorrow. And I don't even mean that necessarily in a pep talk kind of way. It's not it's kind of don't ruin the next day for yourself. You know what I mean? If something shitty happens, the world is not ending. Don't fucking panic. Don't let it carry over into another day. You will never fix this problem you're having.
Yeah, I really like that, because if you're any normal person and you have a conscience, we've all been in that exact position to where we've let a shitty day or a shitty experience roll over into maybe something personal, and then there at the end of the day you're laying in bed and you're thinking about, man, I handled that situation very poorly because I let my emotions resist carry over to something that did not even deserve to have my attention at that time.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world. It's never the end of the world. I guess until it is, and then if it is, what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Don't panic. It's not gonna help anything.
You can't change anything. You better just do whatever you love to do or whatever you've always wanted to do. Go and try to do it, or at least be on your way to do it when it ends, because you can't change it.
Yeah, so if life ever slaps you around, or hell, if you even never slap yourself around, just don't don't do it anymore. Like, don't don't do it any worse. Yeah, I'm still pretty bad about it. It's really easy to stress out and hit the panic button, but like, it's a lot easier to deal with the problem when you don't hit the panic. It's very
Yeah.
easy. It's very easy to do. I still do it, kinda. You know, I still do it every once in a while. Not as much as I used to, but that kind of goes with what you're saying though. Like if you get a minor inconvenience and you freak out immediately and it's the end of the world, it's gonna stop you from fixing it. You're not gonna be able to. It's like you said with being happy. It's a lot easier to achieve things when you're happy. It's also a lot easier to achieve things when you're not freaking the fuck out. So if something bad ever happens, like take a breath, take a walk, get some sunlight, step away. I mean, if it's really bad, like feel your feelings, but like for the love of God, don't let it defeat you. You'll figure it out. Yeah, I might have to skip number 3 because I don't really have an answer for it. I'm not sure. Even if I did have an answer for it, I'm not sure I'd want to say it on camera. So
it might be good. That would probably help us. But yeah, we could save that one. Whatever.
But yeah,
it is.
it's the what's the most unexpected lesson you've learned from your parents or family? I don't know if I can have. I don't know if my most unexpected lesson can be shared on here.
Well, that would be good because then you could share one about each of your family members if you wanted, and that would show.
Shit, I could go through a list, man.
Yeah, that's what would be good. I want people to understand.
Let's see. Yeah, you know what? We'll go ahead and answer this one. Fuck it, it's on the list. You can go first. What's the most unexpected lesson you've learned from your parents or family? Because mine, I guess, technically was sort of my answer was, I'll get there when I get there, but it's not really my family anymore. So.
Well, you can go ahead. I gotta think on this because that's a good question.
I learned, for real, the value of keeping yourself occupied. Like, enjoy your downtime too, but keep yourself occupied. And I guess the reason that was an unexpected lesson is the way I learned it. So my mom used to be married to a gentleman. I don't want to call him that. My mom used to be married to a
Man.
sure, we can call him that, I guess. My mom used to be married to some guy who, growing up with him, it wasn't that bad until it was. And when it was, is whenever this guy got lazy and didn't do anything and didn't do any work, and then he started hanging around with the wrong people a little bit, and then shit hit the fan. I guess without trying to elaborate but that really was the point in my, I don't even know if it was childhood, it was borderline teenage adulthood, it was right around that time. But that was what kind of taught me, like, don't, you can have your downtime, but don't fucking sit around and don't, just doing nothing, or else you'll wind up doing drugs. For real.
Not just ruining your life, but ruining the
Yeah.
life that you have built.
Yeah, for real. Like so it's I guess the lesson is keep working or stay in school and don't do drugs. Which I think that's the lesson that school's supposed to teach you, but I learned that one the hard way. Without it being me. I guess it wasn't the hardest way it could have been, so
that's true. Yeah. That's a good one, and that's a good story. If anybody wants us to elaborate, let us know in the comments, and we'll make a whole.
I was about to say, if anybody that
great.
knows us watches this, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a good answer. My answer is mine is the value of family. The older I get, especially in the time period that we're in, the more I realize how unique it is to grow up in the family that I grew up in, meaning that one mom and dad, 6 kids, still together now and still raising the last 3. And my dad working and doing what he did and seeing the sacrifices that he did, and then seeing my mom take on the roles that she had to and doing what she had to. You never really understand it until you're about 16, and then you just start noticing little things. And it's not until you're in your 20s that you're in your own house and you're just like, man, I miss my mom and dad. It is so easy to just miss home in general. And now the older I get, the greater my relationships grow with my siblings as well, and then with my mom and dad. It just makes me reflect, which everybody's seen on the podcast or heard on the podcast, just even more on the relationships that I have with everybody, and how lucky I was to grow up in such a tight knit, close family. Even though like me, Courtney, and Ryan are all completely in every way north, south, and east, completely different directions. Different people. We just how well my parents did at raising us, on what they did with raising us, and in the situations. And now having a family of my own and going to a job where I make very little money or no money, but I'm at home with Layla, and I get to take Layla at I wake up at 5 every day just to take her into my mom's early, and like those 30 minutes are the bit. It's just made me appreciate, or maybe set a goal towards what to have, and thankfully and luckily, and through a lot of struggles, it goes back to that first question. Glenville's and Gilmer County's provided me a lot with, as much as they've taken away, or as much of struggles as we had in high school, or as much complaints as I freaking had. No, it's been great. They taught me the meaning of family, and honestly, the meaning of life. Like, the whole reason why I'm happy, and the reason I'm able to do so many side things and experience and see what makes me happy, is because I've been fortunate enough to build a very close knit family between marital relations, actual blood, and then all the friends that we talked about there earlier. All around, man, I don't have anywhere to complain, and I guess that's just it. They made me appreciate the people that you have around you.
Yeah, hell yeah. That was a damn good answer, dude. I like that.
Thank you. I was not expecting that. Sorry, I even teared up a little bit. That got me. That was a good one.
That was a good one. Number 4. I don't know my answer for this one yet. I have an answer, but it's not that good. I'll have to see if I can think of another one. But
yeah, go on past that one then.
Oh, you want to pass this one? We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we can pass that one.
Okay, this one I fucking 100% have a answer for this one, and I hate that we already told the story. But number 5, what's a memory from childhood that still makes you laugh? I know my answer. All right, man. I wish I had a better answer. My answer's still good, but I wish we already told the story. My answer is Florida.
Oh, I didn't. I'm thinking childhood with my family. I didn't think about childhood in middle school.
That is there are other things that I could think of, but nothing makes me laugh like that one does. Like, still to this day, it's just as funny as it was the first time. I've tried to tell stories, tell the story to people that don't know, and they find it, okay.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't.
Which is understandable.
If
you weren't there,
it just doesn't deliver like it did in real life, man. It was one of the few moments from middle school that memory is so burnt into my brain that I can see and hear it. Like, a lot of memories you can just remember they happen, but there's a few memories sprinkled throughout your whole timeline that is so burnt in you can picture it. And you can hear it. And that's one of them for me. And every time I even think about it, I chuckle at least. It cracks me up.
That is so funny. I do. Oh my gosh. Well, you just made me think of. I'm going to say one that's about school. In 4th grade, Troy Elementary didn't have enough basketball players, so we were 4th graders were allowed to play. So I played, and we balled out, won the championship. What? There were 4 teams. We played 12 games. But in that, Austin Cunningham was playing, obviously, because he was a 6th grader, and me and Colby were there. And I was just a fast little brown boy. And Mary Jo was the coach, and she always had the rule that, okay, well, everybody ran it at the end of practice. But if you were the first one done running in the suicides, then you were done first. And so that's how everybody finished, was in the order that you would finish.
Yeah.
And I was obviously the fastest. And Austin he promised me, he said, man, I'll buy you a large pizza from Pizza Hut if you let me win. And I let that dick win one time, and I still think about it to this day whenever it comes to elementary
He
basketball.
didn't get you your pizza?
He never bought me my pizza.
That
But
son of a bitch.
I know, but along with that memory in 4th grade, he also did assist me on my first points, though, like ever in basketball. So I also have to give him a little bit of credit. But yeah, he still owes me a pizza, Austin.
He owes you at least a personal pan pizza. Like he
that's
assists, he dimes you your first bucket. I respect that.
I'll take a personal pan for the simple fact of it probably costs what a large did in 2008.
Bastard. I haven't seen him in a million years.
I think I saw him one time on the golf course last year.
You gonna shake him down for a pizza if you see him this year?
That would be, now that I remember seeing him.
Get my pizza. Oh man!
But yeah, for some reason that is burned in my memory. That is, it's funny.
That is a good one. The Florida story is great. I mean, if nobody's heard it, it's on one of our other episodes. But I'll give the condensed version. We're going over a study guide for our West Virginia history final, and our teacher caught one of our buddies that wasn't paying attention, and she goes, "Name one of the states that border West Virginia." Brody, because she knew that he wasn't looking. Justin just whispers to him, "Florida," and then he, without missing a beat, "Florida." And then we all laughed at him hard as shit. And what made it funnier is that everybody else didn't hear that. Everybody didn't hear Justin whisper it. So everybody thought that we were just laughing at him because we were assholes. Everybody thought that was a legitimate answer, and that we were laughing at him to be mean. Oh man, that was a good one though.
We were laughing at him because he's Brody, and that just proved it. Love you, Brody. Old Dick Springer.
The next
awesome,
one,
buddy.
I guess this one isn't really a question for you, but is there something about our hometown you didn't appreciate until you left?
Yeah, I wrote that specific for you because you had.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's the main one is the hospitality. You have it up here, especially where I live now. I don't live as on top of Pittsburgh as I have my first 5 years here. Like I don't even live in the same county anymore. So I'm a little bit out there. It's a little different, you know what I mean? People aren't as rude. The closer you are to the city, people are kind of, you know, they're kind of rude, to be very generous about it. They're dickheads, is what they are, a lot of them. And I didn't realize that until I moved here. Now, when I moved here, my first apartment was, how far was my first apartment from downtown? Like a 10-minute drive, if that, right?
Yeah, it didn't take any time.
It barely took time with traffic. So the more piled up that we were, the worse the people were. Now that I'm a little bit more spread out, everybody's like really nice. Like my neighbors, I live in a building. Like my neighbors across the hall are the nicest people in the world. So it's a good little change of pace. But I didn't appreciate that until I left, and then like I went back, and then you got people that like just hold the door open for you. If you hold the door open for them, they're like, "Oh, thanks, buddy." You know what I mean? Like just everybody just giving that little bit of extra politeness. And then like the only time I really go to bars anymore is when I go back home. So I think it's really cool that I can go back home and I run into like a few guys. I don't even think we know each other's names. We've just seen each other in the bars over the past few years when I go visit. And like those guys always come up and say hi to me, like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like they know that I'm not around town, you know, often, and whenever I am, they always come up and say hi. I think that kind of shit's really cool. You don't get a lot of it around here. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize you didn't get that everywhere until I wasn't there. So that's the biggest one.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah. The small town hospitality is very real. It's, if anybody stumbles across this that is not from a small town, people in small towns are usually very nice. I know a lot of movies like to portray it as like, "Oh, yeah, that guy ain't from around here." You know what I mean? That is not how it is. You're just a person, and they're like, "Oh, okay." At least in Glenville. I'm not speaking for all small towns. Some of them probably suck. Some might, but Glenville's real nice. You can just go there and people, just treat you like a person. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
worst you might get is that somebody might like just stare at you as they're like, if you're driving by and they're pumping gas, but it's just because they're bored and they don't have anything better to do. They're just people watching.
Yeah.
They don't mean any harm by it.
That's good. That's good, and that's something that I actually take pride in because I'm constantly the tax office is a good example, but I know that the values and the manners that my parents, enforced in me and taught in me go a long way, especially through adulthood, and I take pride in being as formal and as polite as possible now and addressing everybody in a respectful manner simply because I see, like, I remember what it was whenever I was 16 and 17 and you're arrogant for no reason, and even whenever you think you're showing respect, you have to get that last word in every argument. You've got to, and you're not understanding that the respect is understanding who has the upper hand and who should get the last word. And what are, for me, because I see it through my brothers, like, whatever I was arguing about my parents with probably didn't have too much value to it.
Mm-mm.
Like, I was just yelling or arguing.
There's a lot of, I don't want to say I'm going to bash the small town life, but there's one critique I do have about it. It's kind of what you mentioned. It's, growing up, I've noticed it as an adult. I've noticed, some kids have it. And I don't even think this is just small town. This is probably everywhere, but it does get a little bit worse in a small town when you're you've heard the phrase "big fish, small pond." Doesn't even matter if you're a big fish. If you're in a small pond, it generates a lot of what I like. I don't know if this is a real thing, but I like to call it main character syndrome. You know what I mean? And
I think everybody
was
does.
Guilty of it too, man. But everybody, like, a lot of people, when they're younger, definitely think they're the main character of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you find out when you get older, you're not. It's not, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, just your life. That's the thing.
Yeah,
just
for
your
sure.
life. And whenever you're able to focus on just your life, everything becomes a whole lot simpler. You realize, wow, all of these world problems aren't Justin problems. Seems to be
Right.
only the people that want to make it their issue are the people that stress about it.
Yeah, we'll go on to 7. Question 7. We skipped 4. We have to circle back around to 4 on a different week because I like.
Yeah,
the,
dude.
I like the
like
rest
I
of
said,
these.
we have so many. We can just hit a few every week. I don't care.
We will. We'll hit
Hit 2
7
every week.
We'll hit 7 and we'll hit 9, and then we'll call it a wrap on these questions. I don't have a list this week, and I'll get around to that in a second because I want us to put some. Yeah, I'll just get around to that in a second. I'll explain myself later. But number 7. This is probably my favorite question. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self advice, what would you say?
Lower your expectations.
That's a good one.
I need to lower my expectations for myself and for other people.
That is a very good one. See, mine
Something
was just going to be take 2 years, work for 2 years, then go to college. But make sure you go back. Like, take those 2 years, find out what you really want to do. Go get a shitty job. That will make you learn what you really want to do. Then go back to college. That's the advice that I would give my 18-year-old self. And I would be like, dude, for real, like, listen, like, don't stay at that shitty job. For real, go back to college.
Yeah.
But go work that shitty job at 18, 19 years old. And then figure out around 2021, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. Don't wait until you, like, don't find out at 25, 26, 27. You know what I mean? That's still not too late, but it's a goddamn inconvenience. That's the one thing I would tell, my 18-year-old self, because it just give you a jump on it. But, no, not a lot of 18-year-olds know what the hell they want to do. Go work a shitty job that makes you, like, hate your life a little bit, and then you'll realize, hey, I don't want my life to be like this. I got to actually find out what I want to do. And then, because there's not enough motivator growing up. It's just counselors and teachers and parents that are like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And that's all it is. It's just people pestering you about that. Like, I think you need a little tiny bit of the life experience. And then you're like, oh, wow, I can't do this forever.
Yeah, if you don't have a passion sparked, and that's the thing is, from an early age, then you have to go out and experience things to see what you like. But the funniest thing, even with that, it's what I'm telling my little brother Caleb now, because he doesn't want to go to college, he doesn't like school and all that. And I said, that's fine. I said, but you do realize that you could still end up 25 years old. Oh, I don't know what I want to do. Like I said, I don't know what I want to do, and look at me. I said, look at a lot of our family members that put themselves through school. They're now in different careers, or they went back for another career. I said, life is constantly about changing and adjusting to what is making you happy. And that I think that's why my answer is lower your expectations. And it's not lower your expectations for life in general. It goes back to before. Lower your expectations for what makes you happy and what you can survive on. And all of these factors, and life will get a lot easier. And from there, you're if you're attentive enough and you care enough, you especially now through research and through outreach to other educated people can set yourself up farther down the road. And by that I mean I constantly am comparing myself to everybody because I make so little money. I've never made any money. I'm this far out of school. I'm this far out of high school. But I see the little progress that I've made in a lot of little areas. I see where I've made myself knowledgeable and been able to talk to maybe some of my family members or some of my siblings on some things. And it's maybe reinforced into me, like, you know what? I'm on my, as everybody is, I am on my own path. And I just needed to lower my expectations for now so that later I could, like, my skill set and just me in general can achieve what I know is what's coming my way. It's just right now is just not the time. I've got to put in my time. I've got to learn. I've got to fail and grow. But it'll happen. Like, I'm very confident in myself. So
we'll go on to we'll do one more. I don't know which one I want to pick because one of them. You know what? Yeah, we'll do this one. What's one risk you took that completely changed your life? Let's do that one first. Unless you don't have something, I can do that one first.
You do that first, because I'm trying to think of one that I can say on it.
This one's kind of ties into the 18-year-old self question, except at 18 I didn't know I wanted to do this. But going back to school, I went back to school last year, or 2 years ago, year and a half ago, something like that. I don't know. Get lost in the shuffle, but yeah, I went back to school. I did a software engineering program because I found out that I wanted to. If the stuff that I like doing is creating shit. Like earlier when I said not a lot of my hobbies are physical, they're digital. Like, I like creating shit. I don't like, but I'm not very artistic in a sense of, picture creating shit, drawing, painting, things like that. I don't have good hands, but I really like technology. I like computers. That's another reason, I like doing this. I like making stuff. So that was a risk that I took because I did that full-time working. I did 3 days a week I had an hour-long class, which that's not crazy, but the workload was crazy. The amount of stuff that you had to like learn on your own. They gave you like the outline. They were like, okay, this is how you do this. They'll give you like base knowledge and you got to build on that. And but that was a risk that I took, and it was a risk because, man, it was it was a lot of money, like school loan wise, which made me glad. Another reason I'm glad I stayed in town for college, because then I don't have that crazy school loan. But it hasn't even necessarily paid off yet, but shit, it taught me a lot of stuff. It's just another one of those learning experiences. It also taught me what I wanted to do. And then, got sidetracked there for a bit, due to my own negligence. And then, but I'm glad I did it because I feel like it actually gave me a path. It gave me something to work towards, which I didn't have getting out of college, because by the time I was out of college, I was like, I don't want to do what I went to college for. I just picked something at 18 years old. I just blindfolded threw a dart at a damn board. I didn't literally do that, but that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
That's what it feels like for most people.
I picked something because I felt like I had to pick something, and then I didn't realize until senior year, when I got a little bit of actual experience in the field for my my senior year nonsense, and I realized, like, I don't want to do this, and then I kind of just sat doing whatever job I could find, for a few years, and then luckily I stumbled into a halfway decent one in terms of coworkers and things like that. I'm good now, but still not what I want to do forever. So it's nice. Like, the risk that I took hasn't paid off yet, but I know it will. So I'm glad I took it. Yeah. That's my answer to that question.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, and it's like I was self-reflecting during the whole thing. It's really hard. I want to do something that's like really adulthood, because I feel like, one, it may resonate with other people, but it also like may actually be relevant to you as well. But like, aside from the everyday life struggles or the struggles of like going into surveying when I wanted to be in marketing, like, I've been fortunate enough that since probably, I got over that depression state at 20 years old, I'm very calculated, even though it may not seem it in a lot of situations. I am very calculated in every decision I make, and almost nothing is done without plenty of thought and reason and talking through being done on it. And then, just because, again, I've stayed in our hometown, I have been able to make myself valuable enough at the companies that I was at to where I haven't had to take career risks other than just completely switching from surveying after 2.5 years to going back to, something I learned in. But I haven't really done any risks. Like, the risky things that I learned in life were back whenever I was a dumb young teenager, and it was shopkeep stuff. Honestly, it was stuff that I keep, and I like. There are so many life lessons and so many experiences that, like, I never would have even had, but let alone being able to resonate with such the amount of people that I do, and the type of people that I do, if it wasn't for just these certain things. And it opened up a lot of avenues and a lot of friendships, and being this far removed from the store, I just self-reflect even more on it. You just get that?
That took me a minute, man. God damn it.
Like, they definitely were not like I am now. They were calculated to an extent, but they were calculated in the same point that every teenage mind's calculated.
Mm-hmm.
You think about the positive, the largest negative, and then nothing in between. And so I can't really. Right now, maybe later on in our podcast, I'll talk about some of the risks that we've taken. But luckily,
if this thing ever starts making us money, and we don't have to work, I will tell you everything.
Yeah, I don't have to talk. I don't have to have fear of losing my job for something I did 10 years ago. Yeah,
we will tell some stories.
But
it's gonna require a lot of viewers.
Everybody help this grow, because just so everybody knows, I have 2 pages of just bullet note lists of things, because I plan to write a book eventually.
We can all just tell
Probably
stories
wouldn't.
of things that somebody else did.
Well, that's what the book is. It's all fiction.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. You can. I'm not. We grew up in Gilmer County. It's boring over here.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Nothing happens. But really, if this thing ever takes off, or if we continue going long enough to where I feel confident, I'm like, okay, people know that, like, me on here and telling stories is obviously not the person that I still am if I'm, forced.
Yeah, no. If we tell a story of anything crazy, it's definitely not who we still are. Everybody hears our weekly recap. We're like, yeah, dude, I just went to work. You know what I
am the most. Yeah, we are the most boring people ever. I bet, because
yeah,
I don't do anything other than I'm just a parent. Yeah. I'm just a parent. So yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, so luckily I outside of that I haven't had to in my personal life take a whole lot of risks other than the average ones. What school to choose, to move in or out of my parents' house, just certain things that have paid off. But everybody goes through them, and so it's nothing that I can assess. So I'm very fortunate for all the people that I had around me, that I put around me, and that just chose to somehow end up in my life to assist me along those first freaking 21 years of my life, and still are now, because it was crazy. And now, to be where I'm at, I'm even more thankful, bro. Like, seriously, that's all it is. All those risks, I'm even more thankful to be at just parent mode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude, that was a good little list of stuff there, which takes the place of our normal list. I am gonna say that because I didn't even talk to you about this beforehand, but I want to throw it out there. So,
our next one, we'll cut back to it next week.
So we did toys, video games, we did TV shows. We broke TV shows into 2 categories, but next week we need to do movies. And I think with movies, we've watched a lot of movies, each of us. I think with movies, I don't think this can be one off the cuff. I think we have to take a week and get a good-ass list, and why there's a good-ass list. Write down a couple extras in case we hijack each other's.
Is it categorical, like in terms of genres?
Nope. That's why I think we
difficult.
That's why I think we need a week for it, because I think we're gonna pick. Again, our lists aren't always necessarily the best. They're the most important to us. That's what it is. It's
awesome.
That's things that. Things like our list would be, I guess, essentially, if you could pick, fucking 5 movies. Like, if every movie was getting wiped off the face of the earth, you could keep 5. What would they be?
Yeah.
Those are just the 5 most important ones to you.
That'll be good. I'll like that, because mine will be from actually good movies to just sentimental value or emotional value that's tied to it, to where every time I watch it, I, reminisce. So that'll be a good list. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, just because you talked about it, next week, just so next week I'm going to have a really cool review on a product. It's a product that we used to have as kids, that I did not think was around anymore, but is. And I'm not going to tell you, because it's going to it should. I think it'll appeal to you. I know it'll appeal to a lot of people. But
I kind of want to make one guess. Can I make one guess? Ahead. And if I'm right, then I accidentally spoiled it this week. Is it a Bop It?
No.
Okay.
It's not a toy.
Oh, okay.
Not a toy. Yeah, I can show people toys.
I don't know why the hell I thought it was a Bop It. I don't know if they make those anymore.
They do. I have some micro machines downstairs. They've integrated it too. They have so many versions.
Oh, that's sick. I want one.
But this week my review is going to be on Venom: The Last Dance, because I had watched that, and I'm gonna try not to spoil it for people. But I'm gonna go to my phone because I took notes on it, because it was just. Well, first of all, I'm just gonna say that movie only made $450 million. It was the lowest grossing of all of them. Might have been the best one. In my opinion.
Really? That's the only one that I haven't seen. I want to see it. And
it's on Netflix.
Really? I'll probably
it's
watch
on Netflix.
I'll probably watch it when we're done here, yeah.
Yeah, you should. And then next week we can talk about it a little bit more. I'll look here and I'll try not to spoil it. But podcast talk. Wow, I have some random things on my phone notes. First of all, it was very funny. Good story to it. I'm not sure how accurate it is to any of the comics because I personally don't know the Venom stuff to any extent beyond his appearance in Spider-Man and what has been put into the Spider-Man cartoons since like 1990. So basically just that he's, basically anti-Spider-Man. So I don't know a lot about it, but in my opinion, very funny, very good. Venom it's what I do appreciate because the comics that I did see him in, you see the symbiote in multiple forms, and that's just cool. Since you're going to watch it, I'm not going to read it, but we'll talk about it next week. I'll keep these notes. The casino fight, I can just say that. The casino scene
awesome.
is freaking awesome. It is absolutely great.
I just like that there's a casino scene. It didn't even have to be good.
I'm going to say this. There is a character or somebody in this movie, since you're going to watch it, that sounds, to me, he sounds like Macho Man Randy Savage. Like a calm Macho Man. Like Macho Man voice, but calm. So I just take notes and tell me if you can figure it out, and then if not, whenever, just I'll say it to you, and then we'll see if you can get it. But the casino scene is hilarious. The fight scenes are some of the best that I've seen. And I give credit to one of the main characters because he was like in the military or something. A lot of them are probably, but this one was, and he just like represented in my eyes what the military is supposed to be, and like the ethics of it, and the confidence of it, and the mindset of it, and being a leader within it. And it's not something that's usually portrayed very well in superhero movies. Extremely accurate in my from my family and everything. My respect for the military. But overall, I don't know. It only cost $100 million to make, so it made 4.5 times the money. But it was least grossing, and I hope that you like it, man, because it is. We'll talk about it next week and go into some details on it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
If I had we haven't done the review in a few weeks, so I don't know if I feel like I might have dropped it in here, but I do have a review I want to talk about. I don't even have anything written down for it. But it's not necessarily a review as much as it is a complaint. It might be a little bit of both. Did I talk to you about that show Mindhunter on Netflix?
I don't think so.
That show was so goddamn good. I watched it. So what it is it's about the FBI establishing their like national criminal database. What they did is they went around interviewing legitimate serial killers. That was the show is about them making the classification of murderer known today as serial killer.
Okay.
So it's a show based in the 70s, and it's these guys like it's not a documentary. It's a show. It's like it's a
scripted show. Okay.
It's a reenactment, but it's so fucking
I was just looking.
good.
Okay.
It's so good, and they had 2 seasons of it. Season 2 ends on a cliffhanger, and they canceled the damn thing. There's no season 3. What the hell's Netflix doing? What do they need to do? What does anybody need to do to get season 3 of Mindhunter? I want it now. I want it yesterday, actually. I'm a little bit pissed off about this.
I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it here in my Safari so that it's on there, so I remember. Oh, I should just watch that sometime.
You should
And
at least
I'll
watch a
also
couple
follow.
episodes. It's very good. I got hooked on it real quick, and then I got really pissed off when I ended season 2, and I was like, "Oh, cool! When's season 3 coming out?" They canceled it. Like they canceled the series like a year and a half ago. I'm like, dude, I didn't even know about this series whenever it was new. Like, if you'd have marketed the fucking thing a little better, maybe it wouldn't have died. Because it's a good show. If I would have known about it then, I would have watched it. But I didn't until now. And now it's gone.
Well, Mind Hunters? Is that it?
Yeah, Mindhunter, yeah.
Mindhunter? Come back, please. I like that.
That's
a good
Netflix.
complaint.
I
That's a
feel
good
like-
review, but also a complaint. I like the end of show
it's-
complaints.
It's a good show, man. I don't want to spoil a lot of what happens, but they just go around talking to serial killers. They talk to, like, Ed Kemper, They talk to all kinds of people, and then they tease. Like, that's what the season 2 cliffhanger is. They tease like another serial killer who I'm sure is supposed to be some, well-known actual serial killer that happened in real life, but they never get around to it because they canceled the 3rd season. So I've got a big gripe about that. It had a lot of potential. They fucked
That's
it up.
good. I like the last minute complaints. I'll do some last minute things that are relevant. This one is not in what I sent you, but I sent you some photos in a second I want you to look at. But the first one is, did you know that boneless chicken wings can have bones in them by law? Yeah, the Ohio Supreme Court withheld that. But currently there is a bill, a man suing a company. There's currently a bill in process of being passed that says that food has to be labeled properly in terms of what the consumer may be, doing. Which goes back to what I said 3 episodes ago. Somebody should have sued about Wisconsin cheese bites because it's not Wisconsin cheese. So
I remember that.
So it really would stand under the same classification. But within that, we're just going to go to the things that I sent you. I'll just throw on screen here real quick. So Wyatt, that first picture, if you click on that, I know you could drive in that city, though you have never been physically in this city. And I wonder, does anybody else understand where this is?
That's Los Angeles, California.
And I have died no minimum of 120 times at this exact intersection.
Oh, dude, I've run over so many people on motorcycles right here.
Oh, I've
This is
definitely
fucking
killed
crazy.
a lot more than what I've died. But yeah,
There's actually
I've
a
died
mission.
lot.
There's a side mission where you race some crazy lady right across that walkway,
That
right there,
bridge.
right across that overpass. Yep,
Yeah,
that's nuts. That's crazy.
and it's just
how-
that's a walking bridge. It's not just for everybody. It's not a driving bridge.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, that's for anybody that doesn't know. It's from Grand Theft Auto 5, and if you haven't played it yet, then I don't know what you're doing. It's only been out for an eternity.
11
It's-
years.
Yeah, it's been out so damn long. I had it on 3 different generations of consoles. I had it on the Xbox 360, the PS4, and the PS5.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
That's how long it's been out. Been out forever. They're milking it for every penny.
Yeah, 26 or 6 is coming out soon.
It's supposed to come out this
Supposed to
year.
be.
Fingers crossed.
Good.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna blow
the-
up my
the-
damn PlayStation.
This next picture that you'll see, number 2, I'm now throwing on screen. This is what I hate about social media, because this is the stupid ass ads that get a million views, and so these people continue to make stupid stuff.
Is it the bread one?
Yes. Tell me, how is that a hack for toasting your bread? Tell me how you're going to get that bread out without fucking hurting yourself.
That's a great question. Yeah, and why don't you just use a fucking toaster?
The toaster was literally invented to toast both sides of the bread evenly at
Yeah.
the same time at the same temperature.
Yeah, you've been toasting your bread wrong. No, bitch. You are toasting your bread wrong.
So that's in there. Well, just scroll to this 4th thing first. So this is really funny and it's a real story, and everybody should look it up. I'm not going to put it on screen, but last week there was a German soccer player's child who ran on the field and bit the official's testicle, and so the game was canceled. Yeah.
What precision you have to get just his testicle, just his one testicle?
He said the child was warming up beside the players and then suddenly came close and he felt a sharp bite.
What the fuck?
Obviously, he was unable to officiate the match, and yeah, I just saw that and I was like, that's got to go in there, because that's the first in sports history, I think.
I've never heard of some shit like that. Yeah, that's insane.
I don't think the Romans heard of some shit like that.
I do know one thing. If that ever happened to me, I'd be going to jail.
Yeah.
Like, I am not one for child abuse. I don't condone it whatsoever. I think it's very fucked up. But I can assure you, if anything walks up to me and bites my testicle, if you're that kind of level, like if you're level with my testicle, you're gonna get a knee in the fucking chest and then another one in the head whenever I get you loose.
Yeah.
I might lose an appendage in the process, man, but like that's just gonna be instinct. It's not gonna be out of like malice. I'm just gonna be like, what the fuck, you know, and start throwing knees and fists and shit.
Yep. Yeah, so that was crazy. Wanted to throw it in there. One that's not in the pictures, the Shrek remake, the current is way too cartoony. Everybody, just like you did with Sonic, bully the producers till then. Well, it's the end of the podcast, and I haven't mentioned anything political, so let's mention something political really quick. This isn't one side or another. This is for everybody that believes in anything, because we are a country of the free, and that means freedom of information, freedom of conversation, and so that's exactly what we're going to have here. So there is a new task force that was assembled. It is the House Oversight Task Force, and it is basically for the release of federal information that should not be kept from the American public. This was just released on Thursday or Friday. They just announced this. The White House did. There is a Congresswoman Luna. I do not remember which state she is from, but she's from the South somewhere, I believe. Maybe I might be wrong, but anyways, look her up. She is heading up this task force. In her brief cut press conference when they announced this and they introduce her, she says some very valuable things, which is why I'm mentioning this, and I just want everybody to pay attention. So it's for the declassification of federal information, basically, for us. And she went on and said there are going to be this amount of things that we are going to try to strive and cover over the next 4 years. And she went on, they are JFK, RFK, so John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., 9/11, the history of COVID origins, the Epstein client list, and something else. But at the very end, she basically, which is why I'm mentioning, she did a ball drop and said, based on the information that she has already been presented and seen, the official accounts that were presented in Congress on the John F. Kennedy assassination are false, and there are 2 shooters. She believes there are 2 shooters, and that is now what is going to be uncovered. So it's just crazy, and we have a lot that could come forth, and it just coincidentally also goes back to last week's podcast, because this is something that Alex Jones said, that crazy loudmouth motherfucker. He said it a long time ago, and it's just proven that more than anything, live your life and make your life happy. But and the government's hiding stuff from us, and they will hide everything that they can to change our outlook, or make sure that we don't have a specific outlook. Is a better thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's crazy though. Isn't that crazy?
That is fucking crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about all this.
Yeah, everybody. Well, the politics and economics are all I look for, or all that I have, and if it's not that, then it's really dumb videos, like that whale getting eating somebody.
The whale getting eaten? That would be crazy. If
crazy.
That one was fake, they need to do another one.
Of a whale
Of just eaten? Whales eating more whales. They just need to, like, all in a row. I don't mean, like, multiple videos. Like, they need to have, like, a whale, just eat a whale, and then just one after another, and the whales just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Make it like a drone video, like the drones flying. Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be funny. I mean, I think it's about a good time to wrap us up. I'm gonna sprinkle a few more things in here, since
absolutely.
Yeah, you started us today. I'll close us out. I want to talk about, I'm gonna talk about a few things. I'm just gonna give you some life lessons. So I'm gonna go back to what I said today. It is not the end of the world. Don't run red lights, at least not on purpose, or unless you absolutely have to. But don't run red lights. Definitely. Some other things. Stay in. What was it? Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Keep a job. Yeah, and the Cavs are going to win the championship this year, and I stand by that. And I think that's about the last message I got for the day. So, other than the usual, like, subscribe nonsense, but
yeah, like, subscribe, follow, comment.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you can go to hell. You can go ride a boat over some whales or something.
But if you're watching this, you already are. So Thank you guys.